And that's the first corner done. We lost 80 walls and 280 bots during this attack alone. The wall surely took a beating, but it still stands. But this is the easiest corner, as it is closest to our base, which means the bots were here fast enough to repair and replace the walls destroyed by the biters. Even so, the biters managed to occasionally breach the second layer of walls. It remains to be seen how well we will fare in the more remote corners of our base. Alright, it is finally time to start revealing the mystery of how to truly eliminate every single generated biter nest and worm on this planet, both in the Raider revealed map and in the remote unexplored black areas beyond. For that, we need to travel back to the previously cleared corner of the map. Let's start with the oldest and most important marker. Mike was here. Now, why does that even matter? Well, it has to do with the Factorio procedural world generation process. The revealed map doesn't tell the whole story. It only shows where the player has actively explored in person, as well as eventually revealing terrain in a square up to 14 chunks out from every placed raider. And that is the state of the current visible map. But like I said, the revealed map doesn't tell the whole story. There's other mechanisms working in the background which can generate terrain complete with biter bases and everything in the black area without it showing up on the map. So even if I'd eliminate every biter base on the visible map and it would look like the entire world had been cleansed, there would still be biters present in the uncharted but already generated terrain beyond the visible lands. Because of enemy expansion, that means they will quickly expand back into the revealed area, and in a matter of hours they will be swarming all over the map right up onto our walls again. But how can we even know which land exactly has been generated and which land has not? Well, we can't really, but we can determine the maximum area in which new terrain theoretically could have been generated, and then just presume all of that terrain has been generated, to be certain we didn't miss a single chunk. One of those mechanisms is that the game, as a background process, procedurally generates new terrain around the player. This happens at a speed of about 1 chunk every second or so, but importantly, it doesn't continue to do that infinitely. The maximum range at which new terrain can be generated this way is 20 chunks out from the player, not counting the chunk where the player is standing. That means no terrain can have been generated more than 20 chunks out from the furthest chunk we have ever visited during this playthrough. Now, I didn't exactly keep track of how far I was out everywhere, but it's safe to say I haven't been further out than where I've placed the 4 Mike was here markers, as those areas are pretty much still swarming in biter bases. So here's a blueprint which shows the full possible generated terrain around the player, all 1680 chunks in the 41 by 41 square centered on the player. If we now hover the center of that blueprint over the chunk with the Mike was here marker, it now shows us the maximum theoretical range at which terrain could have been generated. As you can see, that's another whopping 9 chunks further out from our current Raider revealed area, all around the visible map. That means that next to the giant amount of already visible biters, there's still thousands of unrevealed chunks around the map, and with each chunk containing dozens of biter bases and worms, that means there are many tens of thousands of targets for our train, just in the still invisible area. This method is also how I estimated the total number of artillery shells we would need to be around 100,000. Anyway, another method to both generate new terrain and reveal it on the map simultaneously is by manually selecting artillery targets in the void. The manual range on the artillery is much greater than the automatic range, which allows us to reveal the map up to the full 20 chunks out from the Mike was here markers. So, let's light it all up then. And that's the full first corner revealed. 3 more to go. Well, even with the manual range, we still can't quite reach the furthest possible corners of the map. But we have reached x plus 20 on the straights, which is the absolute maximum distance at which terrain possibly could have been generated at any point during our playthrough. Oh right, it took them a while to get over here from 20 chunks away, but even the few bases I accidentally hit while exploring the map with the artillery cannons caused a couple massive revenge attacks. And here we have some clear evidence that the fire ditch concept is working. The nearby strip of trees burned down, while the giant forest on the other side of the fire ditch was completely preserved. And some more clear evidence on just how fast enemy expansion would cause biters to take over the entire cleared area again. They already have expanded right up to the walls again. Enemy expansion rate scales with evolution, so at near max evolution now, that means the biters are trying to expand back in the cleared territory like crazy. That expansion has been a problem all game long, especially with the behemoth worms outranging our turrets all the time. But no longer. We finally have the means to automate even that aspect of the game. We can now simply place a pair of land-based artillery turrets in the just cleared corner, have the bots supplied in with a chest full of shells, and now these 2 turrets will automatically eliminate any enemy expansion attempt in the whole corner we just cleared with the artillery train. Nice. Well, little Johnny's days were numbered anyways. His grave now lies firmly within the reach of the artillery train station. And as it stands, it seems like eventually Johnny's redemption's days are numbered as well. It is time for the second corner. The first one provided a lot of literal fireworks, so let's keep an eye on the oil usage of the flamethrowers during this attack. There's currently 930 oil in each of these 20 tanks, so that's about 19k oil before we start the show in the northeast corner. Let's try to film a bit further out this time, wearing the best armor in the game, while we wait for the train to arrive in the morning dawn. Well, that failed quickly. Even the strongest armor in the game isn't up to the task of filming behemoth biter revenge attacks. Anyway, the lake in the northeast corner here could cause some serious problems, as it will converge all biter attack groups from the east side around the lake to all hit exactly this corner. That's the real reason I'm standing around here in my Spidertron. Let's see how it goes. The biter attacks have raged on for a full day and a full night, and while the biters reliably breached the first 2 walls, the bots were quick enough to replace the walls, and I still felt pretty safe behind my wall here. The far south will be a different story though, as it will take the bots many times longer to react. So let's reveal the hidden land here as well. Now, while we can reveal all possibly generated terrain, we still need to find a way to actually kill all the enemies on the edge of the map without generating any new terrain. We cannot simply use artillery to finish the job, as the area of effect of the explosions just causes the next chunk out to be generated. While we are revealing the full northeast corner, we casually complete bot speed 8. This should help with the wall repair speed during our soon-to-be southern attacks. Anyway, after the first 2 corners are done, our base now has some punched out Mickey Mouse ears attached to it, in the areas where the biters have been cleared. Even though we took out this entire corner, evolution increased less than 0.2% between the end of the first corner and this one. At 98% evolution, progress has almost completely stalled, as it now progresses a whopping 2,500 times slower compared to at game start. We have lost a similar amount of bots like in the first corner, but we don't care about that anymore. Our hub automatically adds 1 bot back in the system for every bot that we lose, and keeps the total number of construction bots in our network nicely at 2000. And we have another 2000 bots on standby in this buffer chest. So, how much oil did our flamethrower spend during this giant attack wave? Well, with about 7k oil remaining in these 20 tanks, that means we spent 12,000 oil. That's less than half of a single full storage tank worth of oil to fend off a full corner worth of artillery destruction, an amount which even our single crappy minimum production pump jack can replace in about 1 hour. It is time to attack the southern biters. Long bot flight times will make this corner a lot more challenging, although the biter concentration here is a bit lower due to the enormous lake in this corner. First, let's point out again just how amazingly accurate the artillery snipes the biter bases between the forests. With this before and after shot, we can clearly see the damage done to the forest was absolutely minimal, while the biters are 100% sniped with surgical precision. And indeed, in this corner, the enemy easily breaches the 3rd layer of walls repeatedly. And while the losses here are much greater than in the north, the wall still stands. Then it is time for the final corner. The furthest from the base and with the heaviest concentration of biters. Regardless, we'll ignore all of that and just do a full map view time lapse. And ignore all the scary noises and just hope the wall stays up, lemau. After the train stops bombarding, we can finally take a peek, and indeed we see the biters have been busy breaking the fourth wall now. Though at this point the wall has almost transformed naturally into one of those dragon teeth designs, as the biters try to squeeze themselves through the tiny openings of the walls they broke down, but they get stuck too much and die in the fire before they reach their target. Anyway, this corner was so dense with biters, most of the artillery wagons are empty and we need to send the train out to reload before we can do the artillery explore thing. After our obliterating attack in the fourth and last corner, the entire flamethrower oil buffer tank has completely dried up. Oh no! Are we about to die in the next attack? Well, not yet, as there's still hundreds of thousands of oil in the system. And while attacks should drastically slow down from now on, let's continue keeping half an eye on the oil level. In total we have lost 1000 walls and over 2000 bots during our assault. Well, it's a small sacrifice for a man, a giant sacrifice for bot kind. We also used up only 8k artillery shells so far. I may have overestimated the 100k shell requirement, and indeed we saw many cases of multiple nests and worms succumbing simultaneously to a single shell. Nevertheless, we will stick to our plan and keep up artillery shell production at full speed. After the train has reloaded, it arrives back in the fourth corner and we can explore the final section of Still Invisible map.